Greetings, everybody. Welcome. Welcome back to another Soul Awakening Sanctuary Movement live stream. So tag your friend, tag a neighbor, tag a friend, share this, tap the screen, like, comment, and share. Let everybody know that Chief Apostle Veronica Yisrael is live and in color, and we are here thankful on this Friday, and we're going to have a wonderful time together on today. So come on in the room, get comfortable, and let's have a good time. I don't own any rights to any music. It's just for inspirational purposes only. Gotta cover ourselves. Army of the Lord. Welcome, everybody. Army. In the army of the Lord. Welcome, everybody. Come on in the room. Happy Friday. Welcome. For those who celebrate Good Friday, happy Good Friday to you. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Soul Awakening Sanctuary Movement live broadcast. Today, we are going to have a wonderful time and discussion. Today, our topic is Resurrection Redefined, Unlocking the Spiritual Power Within. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. So please share this live, tap the screen, give us some hearts, comment, let somebody know that we're live, because we're going to be talking from a different perspective. We're going to be talking about the metaphysics of Holy Week and awakening the Christ consciousness in you. So we're going to talk about this week from a different perspective. A lot of people, with celebrating this week, especially in Christianity, celebrating this week and Good Friday and all of the things that have been going on this week, and in preparation for Sunday, which is Easter, and those who are Jewish have been celebrating Passover, Pesach, and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So we're going to talk a little bit about all of that. and how it connects with spirituality, whether you are religious or not, but just spiritual, and how this all can speak to you. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. So you wanna stay tuned today to hear us and what we're talking about. So come on in the room. We're just going to listen to some music for a little bit, and then we're going to get into our topic. Let's go. Greetings, Bishop Brian Knox. Greetings, Gwendolyn Wright. Greetings, everyone who are tuning in, whether on TikTok or Facebook. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's go back a little bit. Let me give you a little song. Whatever you're going through this week or today, I want you to know that God in you got you. I'm going to give people another minute or two, and then we're going to get started. Love, peace, joy, happiness for your soul. God's got it. Everything you need, everything you need. God's got it. God's got it. All right, we're enjoying ourselves this Friday morning. I guess I felt so good about Bible said Sunday morning. It's Friday morning. We're kicking off the weekend together with yours truly, Chief Apostle Veronica Yisrael. And today we're talking about the metaphysics of Holy Week. Talking about resurrection redefined. Talking about spirituality from a different perspective. So welcome, welcome. So happy to have you. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and get started, because we know many of you probably are out and about, taking care of business today, getting ready for this week. Everything you need, whatever you need, darling, you got it. All you have to align yourself with what you want. Affirm it, and you got it. God got it. I got it. Come on. Affirm to yourself that I got it. I've got it. I've got it. God got it. Whatever you need, it's not far away from you. You at just one side of the pole. And if you begin to affirm what you want and speak it in existence, you begin to move yourself to the other side of the pole and receive it. So greetings to everybody again. And welcome to the Sankofa Sessions podcast and the Soul Awakening Sanctuary. I'm so happy to have each and every one of you here with us as we just get into today's topic. Again, which is redefining resurrection. Resurrection redefined. Unlocking the spiritual power within. It's one thing to talk about resurrection in 2000, 3000, however many years ago, but how is it benefiting you? Have you resurrected yet? Have you resurrected yourself from the ash heap of what you used to be, who you used to be? Are you a phoenix rising, coming into who you are? So that's what we're going to be talking about in the metaphysics of Holy Week, awakening the Christ consciousness within you. So as we begin, many of you have been told resurrection was about a man 2,000 years ago. But what if it's about you right now? Let's think about it from that perspective. What if resurrection is about you right now? What if resurrection is not just about an event in history, but a process in your consciousness? Oh, I'm feeling all right now here. So today we are going to break free from the tomb of small thinking, of limitation, of shame, of degradation. We are rising from that tomb today, and we are going to rise into the divine truth of who we really are. So I want to welcome each and every one of you to this sacred time of teaching in this space. Resurrection Redefined, unlocking the spiritual power from within. And I am your host, spiritual leader, guide, global teacher, high priestess, founder of the Soul Awakening Sanctuary, yours truly, Chief Apostle Veronica Yisrael. And this today is not about dogma. I want to make that clear. This is not about dogma. This is about divine awakening. That's what we are focusing on today. So let's leave the dogma aside and let's think outside of the box into spirituality and about you. Because it's one thing to talk about something distant in the past, way beyond, outside of ourselves, but let's talk about you and I right now and how these spiritual principles can be applied to us to make our life a true reality. That's what we want to talk about today. And so I want to start by talking about honoring the story without limiting the power. Greetings, JJ. So good to see you. So let me begin with this. This teaching today, this sacred teaching in this sacred space is not an anti-Christian teaching. Let me make that clear. This is not an anti-Christian teaching. We're not here to bash anybody because I know, for example, a lot of the Hebrew Pentecostals or Hebrew Christians or Hebrew Apostolics or those who Messianic, they deal with Jewish and Christendom kind of mixed together. When it comes to this time of the year, they get on social media and bash people about resurrection. It ain't good for, he didn't die on Good Friday. He had to die on a Wednesday. They get 3 days and 3 nights and Jonah and the fish and all this kind of carrying on. But we ain't here to bash nobody, rather the semantics of if Yeshua, commonly called Jesus, died on a Wednesday or he died on a Friday, if he resurrected on a Saturday night or a Sunday morning. We're not here to get into all that's religious dogma and doctrine. And a lot of all of that, the whole concept comes straight out of Rome. So we're not dealing with that because we know Rome is jacked up. Rome got us where we are today in religious dogma and indoctrination. So we're not going to get into that. We're not here to bash anybody's belief. We're here offering a different perspective, a deeper perspective, out of the box to enlighten, We're all about enlightening ourselves, expanding our consciousness, expanding our thinking, expanding our awareness and how we perceive things. So this is not about bashing belief, it's about expanding them. That's right. Religion causes separation. Spirituality brings about oneness. Oh, I like that. Religion causes separation. Spirituality causes oneness. I like that. So it's about expanding our beliefs. That's right. You can take it, honey. Music. You can patent that. So Holy Week, to many, this week commemorates the life, the death, burial, and the resurrection of what some call Jesus Christ, or more properly called Yeshua ben Yosef. But even Yeshua himself said, greater works than these shall you do. Which means the resurrection story is not a spectator story. It's not a spectator event. The resurrection story is an invitation to you, to me, to us all, to resurrect from whatever, wherever we are, to resurrect in our consciousness, in our mind, to a new level of consciousness, to a higher level of consciousness, expanding to a new level of awareness of the God within each of us. Source, spirit that's within us all. So this is what we're talking about today. So let's deal with the inner metaphysical journey of Holy Week. Let's break this down metaphysically. Anybody who's been following me for any length of time, you know that I am a metaphysical spiritual teacher. When we deal with the Bible or spirituality, we deal with it from a metaphysical perspective, not a literal perspective. So let's break this down from a metaphysical perspective. You have on last week Palm Sunday, which symbolizes the entry of divine consciousness into our human experience. It's the moment where we say yes to our higher self. That's what we should have been experiencing starting last Sunday, Palm Sunday. Coming into the divine consciousness in our human experience. Learning to say yes to our higher self. Learning to say yes to doing the things that we need to do to bring us to the place in our mind and in our spirits where we know we need to be. Learning to say yes to moving from that low place that we've been for so long, from stagnation, saying yes to our higher self, from leaving Lodabar, leaving our low place, depression, leaving confusion, leaving the baggages and all those things that keep us down. That's what that Palm Sunday from a metaphysical perspective means. The entry of divine consciousness into our human experience. Saying yes to our true self. That we no longer pretend. That we no longer, as my mother would say, put on airs for people. That we will learn to say yes to who we truly are. To move beyond form and fashion, move beyond hearsay, move beyond performance, and to embracing who we truly are. And then we move into the Last Supper, which represents communion. Now, this communion, we're not talking about this little bread and juice or water or wine that people be taking in church. No, beloved, we're talking about communion, not just with others, but with the divine presence within ourselves. Do we know how to have communion with the divine presence that's within us? To sit with that spirit, that presence that's in us. God in you, not outside yourself somewhere. No, in you. Greetings, beloved Marina Ways. So good to see you. Hope you're doing well. So communion, not just with others, but with our divine essence within. This is where we choose alignment over attachment. I'm going to say that again. In this time of communion with the divine presence in us, we learn and we choose alignment over attachment. So many times we attach ourselves to people and to things and to movement and to places for relevance. I'm going to say that again. Sometimes we attach ourselves to people, places, things, to events, to movements for relevance. But it's time that we learn to move beyond attachment and choose alignment. Detach yourself from everything that doesn't align with your higher self, that doesn't align with your true purpose and goal, that doesn't align with who you truly are. Detach yourself from it. Let it go. Stop holding on to people, things, places, belief systems that are tying you down. That's a ball and chain you're carrying around, and it's become too heavy for you to carry because it doesn't align with where you are now or where you're going. Woo! I felt that. It's what you're carrying around, what you're believing, all of those belief systems, all of those practices, all of those things you're involved in. Does it speak to your soul currently? Does it speak to who you are and evolving into now or in the future? So a lot of times we are holding on to paradigms that don't serve us any longer, and we refuse to let it go. But there used to be a saying that I used to hear growing up in the religious world, in the church world. They used to say, "Let go and let God." So I want to encourage you today to let go and let God. And I'm the God of your understanding, not the Christian God, the Buddhist God, the Muslim God, the white supremacist God. No, the God of your understanding, God by all names known. That source, that energy, that light in you. Let go and let your higher self. Let go and let the universe. Let go and let the spirit within you take control. You know, we have to learn to get over trying to be control of everything in our life. You know, sometimes we are control freaks. Sometimes not of other people, but of our own self. We want to control everything, where we are, who we are around, how things go. It's okay to plan, baby, but leave room for the divine intelligence to bring about what you truly desire. Because a lot of times we try so hard that we miss it, because guess what? Guess what? We are not allowing our highest self to guide us. We are not allowing the spirit within us to lead us into what we truly desire. So we're kind of trying to control the outcome instead of planning and then following our intuition to bring about what should be done. Because when you follow your spirit, when you follow the rhythm, because everything moves in rhythm. If you haven't watched that episode we posted, well, actually, we did not post yet. It will be coming out later today. It's about the law of rhythm, how everything moves, and we have to learn to move with the law of rhythm. Stop trying to force everything. A lot of times we're moving out of alignment, out of season, out of time. So it's not working right. So we're trying to make it fit and it's not fitting. And the current is moving against us. Why? Because we're not in divine alignment. We're not in our assignment. We're not where we should be. My. So the Last Supper in this Holy Week, from a metaphysical perspective, represents communion, not just with others, but with the divine presence within ourselves. It's where we choose alignment over attachment. Align your mind, align your spirit, align your heart, align your ideals, align your goals, align your consciousness, your beliefs with who you truly are. Moving in divine alignment, moving your inner being into alignment. Some of us are holding on, well, this is what my mother did, or my grandmother did, or my aunt and my family, this is what they did, so I'm doing it too. Honey, is that in alignment with what you should be doing? Is it speaking to your soul? Greetings, Brother Mike L. Good to see you. Hope you're having a good day. Is it in alignment with your soul? And so that's what you have to do. Start getting alignment within. Stop just doing things to be doing it. Just to have something to do or have something to say. You know, a lot of people just talk to be hearing themselves. They'll just be talking, honey. They don't know. They don't have no really reason to talk. They'll be just flapping their gums. But is your spirit in agreement with what you actually saying out of your mouth? Greetings, Z the Conqueror. Grand Rising. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Everybody hit the screen, share, comment, repost, share the live, everybody, and tap that screen for us. We want as many people as possible to be able to come into this live and be able to hear something to transform their life. That's what we're about. Greetings, Bishop LaBelle. Love you. Hope you're doing well, beloved. And so, let's talk about the Garden of Gethsemane. Now, a lot of people, as they deal with this Holy Week, but let's talk about the Garden of Gethsemane from a metaphysical perspective. The Garden of Gethsemane, where Yeshua, commonly called Jesus, was there, wrestling with his divine calling and what his assignment and purpose was. Now, how does that relate to us? That Garden of Gethsemane experience is about the dark night of the soul. We all have our Garden of Gethsemane experience, our own dark night of the soul, where we wrestle against the old paradigm, the old beliefs, the old us, and the fight for that new emergence of us that is trying to come through. It's the moment we wrestle with our calling, with our divine calling. We wrestle with our divine purpose. We're wrestling with the ego and our higher self, with our higher self trying to lead us forward while the ego is trying to take us back into being puffed up in pride and all about us and egotistical behavior. So it's that fight, that dark night of the soul. It's that place where your ego is being pressured to surrender to your true essence. So when you think about that Gethsemane experience, the Garden of Gethsemane experience, that dark night of the soul, it's you wrestling with your ego, your higher self, that true spirit within you, that God within you, who you truly are, your essence. It's fighting the ego because it's now time for the ego to be incorporated. For this ego now to be in subject, integrated, and surrender to who you truly are. When you're in a spiritual awakening, when you're in an era of coming to who you truly are, coming back to your source, to your center, centering yourself, you have to learn that the ego now has to surrender. You thought you knew everything, but now you're in a process of unlearning to learn. Because a lot of things we were taught was just not true. A lot of things we were taught, it was not taught to us to deceive us purposely. But still, in of itself, it was error and incorrect. So we have to unlearn to learn. Greetings, XD Wayne or X Dwayne, whichever one, XD Wayne or XD Wayne. Beloved, it's good to see you again. Bless you. Thank you. I love this purple too. Purple is one of my favorite colors. For anybody, anytime, want to know, hint, 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 purple it is. We love purple. My mother's of blessed memory, her favorite color was purple as well. So I love purple, reds, and I have a lot of that. So yes, when you're on a spiritual journey, spiritually awakening yourself, you have to learn that there's going to have to be a lot of things you got to let go. You got to let go of what you thought you knew. So you can't carry that over into where you're trying to go. You got to let go of that. I like green too. Green is a beautiful color. Especially dealing with prosperity, abundance. Yes. So you have to learn to let go of all those things you thought you knew. Those ideals you had in your mind that you were taught. A lot of this one thing we were taught, a lot of people that were taught, especially in America, black families, majority Christian, we were taught that, if you're not a Christian, then you're going to hell. If you're not a Christian, you gotta accept Jesus, you gotta do this, you gotta be baptized, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. Only thing the divine source, the creator, the source of all that is, needs from you is to learn to love you, to love yourself, and to love your fellow human being as yourself. All of this other stuff about worshiping, God wants you to worship Him, and you've been created to worship. No, that's religious dogma. You've been created to be your authentic self. You've been created to be God in flesh, having a human experience. You are the physical manifestation of the divine essence, and it's within you. And you are created to express that in the earth realm. That's what you've been created to do. You worship the divine source when you live out your life as a service of love to yourself and to others. The divine source, God by all names known, get the most worship and praise when you learn to love you, because God is in you. God, the divine source, whatever you want to call it, is love. And so when you learn to love yourself and you learn to love other people and treat people with dignity, treat yourself with dignity, that is the height of honor and worship that you can give to any divine being, any deity. So we got to let go of the nonsense that we have been indoctrinated with. God needs your tithes and offering. God needs your worship. Let me tell you, I don't know what your understanding and concept of the divine is. Your concept of God is. But if the divine is almighty, all powerful, all knowing, got everything, it doesn't need anything from anything, anyone, you doesn't need it. It is a source that gives. It's not worrying about receiving. So, we sometimes when we talk our ideology, we're talking two different things at one time. So we have to make sure that it's lining up. What we say we believe and what we say we understand about the divine source. So we got to check our inherent beliefs, see if it lines up with the truth our soul is trying to lead us into. So let's talk about the crucifixion. So today is a day, said Good Friday. I know some people say, what's good about it? How Jesus died on Friday. Well, I'm not here to bash anybody, but everybody know you can't get 3 days and 3 nights out of Friday to Sunday morning. Now, that's not possible. And some people try to mess with your rational brain. They try to mess with your intelligence by trying to configure and explain how you can get 3 days and 3 nights out of Friday to Sunday morning. But if you have any sense, you know that's not possible. It don't care how you count. That's not how you do it. Okay. So it could not have been Friday. It had to be Prime. But anyway, we're not here to get into that. But I'm just dropping little tidbits. See, that's when you begin to research and study everything you've been told and look at it and examine it. See if it's still lined up with what you believe. Anything you believe, if it can't hold up under scrutiny and question, then you should be rethinking it. No belief is above being questioned. I'll go even to say, depending on your understanding of the divine, that God, source, infinite intelligence, do not mind being questioned. Now people say, oh, don't question God. Why not? I don't know about you, but the divine source that's within me, God in me, my understanding of the divine, does not have a fragile ego where you can't ask no question and it blows up and it's angry and it's one moment and sad the next and hates you one minute and love you the next. I don't align with that concept of God, that concept of the divine source. My divine source, God creative, don't have temper tantrums. That's a concept of a temperamental, childlike behavior, and you're trying to attach that to a divine source. Something's wrong with that, if you ask me. So let's talk about the crucifixion. The crucifixion is the death. How does it relate to us metaphysically? Is the death of the false self. That's what the crucifixion means metaphysically. The crucifixion is the death of the false self, the illusion of who you are. So a lot of times we have the illusion of who we are, the perception of how people see us or what we portray. But the crucifixion is nailing that false image, that false self to that cross, to leave it behind. Crucifying that illusion, the old programming, the colonized mind. That's what we should be focused on crucifying today. Crucifying our colonized mind. Crucifying the thought that you are a worthless sinner, or you're a sinner saved by grace, or that you was born in sin. Crucifying the false idea that you are just filthy rags. Crucifying that colonized mindset that because your skin is dark or you're melanated, that you're less than. Crucifying the false idea that was given to you in colonization that if God is white, Jesus is white, the angels is white, so everything divine is white, and everything that's black is the devil and wrong. Crucifying these false ideas, the colonized mind. Crucifying the idea that you have to go to a building. You have to go to a building to worship the divine. not knowing that the divine is not outside of you, but within you. So wherever you are the spiritual house. You are the temple of the divine because you are the house that holds the divine within you. So whether you go to a building or not, it's of no consequence. See, that's what we're talking about, crucifixion. Crucifying these ideologies that do not serve you. Crucifixion is the death of the trauma that told you you were less than divine. So we want to talk about crucifixion. Let's talk about that kind of crucifixion. Crucifying that trauma. Nailing that trauma to the metaphysical cross that told you were less than divine. That told you because you didn't have an education, you didn't deserve to sit in the room. Because you weren't a certain skin color, you don't deserve a seat at the table. Because you're a woman, you don't deserve a seat at the table. Because your quote unquote lifestyle don't line up with the majority of what the world say, then you don't deserve a seat at the table. Because you love what other people think is not right, you don't deserve dignity and respect. See, we are crucifying the trauma that comes with that in those false ideologies. That's what crucifixion metaphysically represents. Are you ready to let go of the illusion? To do the shadow work? Yeah, everybody may say, oh, you're a nice person, you're sweet, you're loving, you're kind, or you all this, and you know, so knowledgeable and degrees and everything. But are you willing to look at yourself in the spiritual mirror and look within and say, I really don't match it with all this that people say and all these accolades, and begin to do the work, the shadow work, to integrate, to work on these parts of yourself so that you can truly align with who you truly know to the highest potential you know you can be. That's the crucifixion we're talking about. And then let's deal with the resurrection. So resurrection is not a return to who you once were. When you think about resurrection, metaphysically, we think about resurrection. It's not about returning to who you once were. You don't resurrect to what you were. A caterpillar that moves through the metamorphosis to become a beautiful butterfly. They don't resurrect from that cocoon as a butterfly just to return back as a caterpillar. No, they emerge and resurrect as a beautiful butterfly. They go through the metamorphosis process that it may emerge to its height of its potential. So resurrection, it's not about returning to who you were. It's the emergence of who you were always meant to be. It's about coming into your own, setting aside the facade, and really truly being in touch with who you truly are. Truly being in touch with your true essence and core, who you were created and ordained to be. Are you really ready to be your authentic self and not what people say you are, not what people say you should be, not living up to other people's standards, but truly living up to your greatest potential that you know you can be, moving from one pole to the other end to where you know you should be. Learning to be authentic. Stop shrinking into backgrounds. Stop hiding. Stop living in the false pretense and false humility. And we're going to talk about false humility in a minute. Y'all remind me. Greetings, Kenya. So happy to have you with us today. I'm happy. However people are drawn to this live, I'm happy. And it's my voice that drew you. Praise be. I'm glad to have you. For some reason, I've been blessed with a voice that carries to bring people in to the truth. That's why I'm careful what I say and what I talk about and what I teach, because I want to make sure it's edifying people holistically. And we're not promulgating any religious doctrine or dogma. We're here promoting self-love, promoting love, unity, peace to all mankind. Getting over the ism and schisms that society likes to draw us into, it's tribalism. My for and no more attitude. That's why we can't get nowhere, because we not worried about the collective, the whole. We're just worried about us and how we are affected by things. That's what has the USA and the world in a mess, because we're not focused on how we're all interconnected. We're just worried about how we're affected. How am I going to be affected? How is it going to bother me? How is it going to mess up my flow? What is it going to do to me? What does it mean for me? Not how it's going to affect your fellow human being or another community that you're not a part of. And that's what America has seen, because we had that attitude. And guess what happened? We found out that what we thought would not affect us affects us. You thought you were doing something by trying to put another community in jeopardy because you didn't believe in what they stood for. But it's not about if you believe in what someone stands for or not, or how somebody lives their life. It's about the human dignity and respect and love for everybody, the right to choose. Even the divine source of the universe that some call God by all names known, give you free will and choice. So who are we to pass laws and judgment on people, to stifle them and stop them from using their free will to live their life? I've been hearing this little saying that's going by, we listen and we don't judge. But do we really listen and don't judge? Because if we truly listen and don't judge, people would be running to spiritual centers and to people that say they're spiritual. There's even one verse in the Bible, in the New Testament, where it says, ye that are spiritual, restore such a one. If somebody's fallen into some addiction or some issue in their life, there's some hookup, and they're trying to get free, it says, ye which are spiritual, not ye that are religious, not ye that are colonized and indoctrinated, not ye that are pious and so holier than thou. It says, ye that are spiritual. So that means you can be religious and not spiritual. Woo! My. That's a powerful thought. You can be religious and not spiritual. You can have all kinds of degrees, but not spiritual. Say, ye that are spiritual, restore such a one. When we see our brothers and our sisters and our family and friends and loved ones and just neighbors and whoever they are, however they identify, when we see them in need, or they've fallen from quote unquote grace, do we restore them? Do we cover them till they can get up? Do we work to help them, to bring them back to where they once was and even better? I don't normally talk about, with things we talk about the celebrities and different things, especially when it comes to religious and church world. But this thing about Leandra Johnson, let me say this. This is when that scripture that says, "Ye that are spiritual, restore such a one." Now, there ain't nothing wrong with drinking alcohol. Let me make that clear. There ain't nothing wrong with drinking alcohol. I'm going to say it again. There ain't nothing wrong with drinking alcohol. You can't come up with no Bible verse, if you're a Bible thumper, that says, "Thou shalt not drink alcohol." But it's about when you lose control of your faculties. It's when you overindulge. It's when you are not in control of your mind anymore that there's a problem. When you go so much into drinking or in anything that you become belligerent, it alters your mood and begin. See, that's the problem. It's not just in the act of drinking. It's the excessiveness. So we got to stop trying to throw people in some proverbial hell. You're making life for people a hell. And we have to learn to stop that. But if those who was quote unquote so spiritual should have walked with her, held her hand, Leandra Johnson we're speaking of at this moment, see what it is she needs to help her, to restore her, to bring her back into a place of recovery. Because a lot of time when we see these people doing these different things, it's a cry for help. But because we're so super religious, we are not in touch spiritually and in tune. And we're out of touch with humanity, with reality, and spirituality. That we can't see that some people are committing certain acts, but a cry for help. It is a cry for help. And who knows? These incidents with Leandra Johnson may be cries for help. But instead of helping, what are people doing? They're criticizing. They're having a field day laughing, having so much to say. But these are some of the same people that brought her in their church to sing. Same people that said, "Oh, she was so powerful," and praised her, and now turn around and say that she need to get saved and she's something wrong with her and she, blah, 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 have so much to say. A lot of times we have so much to say, but we give so little. We do so little. What if we learn to stop talking so much and start doing more? How about that? If we stop talking so much about people and what they should be doing and what they should not be doing and how they should live their life and stop trying to control other people's lives, because most of the people that try to control and dictate and always have so much to say about other people and what they're doing, it's because they ain't doing jack's jiddly squat in their own life. Their own life is crumbling and failing. And so instead of addressing the problem in their life, they want to address what's in your life and what's going on. But honey, you can't tell me about me unless you tell yourself about you and you worked out your own situation. Or if I can use a biblical phrase, worked out your own soul salvation with fear and trembling. Have you worked out your own situation? You're trying to tell somebody about love, but do you even love yourself? You're trying to teach people about how to love their family and their children, but do you love your spouse? Do you love your children? You want to correct somebody else's child, but is your child running around like they don't have no home training? Now, I know this kind of teaching and talking is tight, but it's right. My father had a saying growing up. He said, charity, and I think it is a Bible verse, charity begins at home, which is another word for love. Begins at home, then spreads abroad. Do you have love in your home? No amount of going to church, to mosque, to temple, to synagogue, to houses of prayer, to any places, religious, spiritual centers, shrines, whatever. It's going and doing all of these things yet there's no love and peace in your home. Houston, we have a problem. Are y'all hearing me today? We're doing exercises and going places, and going to conferences and going to buying books and hearing different gurus and going to retreats and meditations and all these things. But do we know how to live at peace with ourselves and with our family and home? Because a lot of time, it's not about how, a lot of people, if we be honest, it's not about how we treat people in the public, because a lot of times we have had home training, so we know how to treat people and hospitable and everything out in public. But how do you treat the ones you live with? That's the story, baby. Do you know how to love and treat the people you live with in your home? That is the challenge. You want to see how far your love is? You want to see how spiritually inclined and elevated and expanded your conscience is? How you treat the ones you live with and go to bed every night. That's the test. That's the measuring test. Then you can see how far you've come. How do you treat your children? I've been meaning to say this, but let me say it now while it's on my mind. Parents of children that depend on you, from newborn to 18, 19 years old, to the off to college or whatever. How you treat your child in those formative years sets the basis of the relationship, how they would treat you later in life. Let me say that again. How you treat your children now when they depend on you for everything is setting the stage for how they will interact with you and treat you when they don't need you. Because when your children grow up and they do not need you anymore, they will treat you accordingly how you treated them when they depended on you. If they was in distress and you left them to deal with their emotions on their own, when they grow up and become an adult, don't look for them to bring you close and to talk with you as a friend and involve you in their emotional distress in life and them coming to you and venting to you. Why? Because you didn't set that safe space for them as a child. So they're not going to do that with you as an adult, because you as a parent set that precedence with them growing up. Let me tell you this. Your child did not ask to come into this world. Now, I'm just giving some sage wisdom. I'm kind of like little, just walking in spirituality and spirit now. So pick up what I'm putting down. If it's for you, it's for you. Take it and put it in your wisdom bank, applying to you. Your children, how you treat them, is a reflection. Your children, number one, is a reflection of you, and how you treat them is a reflection of how you treat yourself, because your children is an extension of you. Again, your children is an extension of you. And how you treat them is a reflection of how you feel and treat yourself, how you view yourself. You short with your child, that means you short with yourself. Always rough with the child, you rough with yourself. Or the child look at his daddy, so every time you look at the child, sometimes you get an attitude. It roughs you the wrong way. You need to take that up with yourself because you shouldn't lay down with the daddy to have the child. Let's talk about that. Should have thought about it. Let's start taking accountability. On talking about resurrection, let's emerge to newness. Let's look at the mirror. Let's do some accountability. Let's think about it. Look at that child and sometimes have it discuss. Well, let me tell you something. And you discuss it with yourself then. Because you lay down to have that baby. Or impregnate that woman to have that baby. Or impregnate that person to have that baby. Or you came together and chose to make this child into the world. The child doesn't owe you anything. Parents, hear me loud and clear. Your children do not owe you anything. They did not ask to come into this world. You, my dear, owe that child everything because you did the deed to bring that child into the world. So it is your responsibility to make all the necessary sacrifices that need to be made without grumbling and without complaint. Because it was your choice. It is what you wanted to. Now, we're not talking about those who were taken advantage of, those with, dealt with trauma and all that, and how the baby came about and whatnot. I don't want, the R word, start with R, end with an E. I don't want to get flagged. But we're not talking about those women who were taken advantage of and, things done to them, and they produced a baby from that act. We're not talking about that. Let's just use common sense. We're talking about those two consenting adults making babies. Let's talk about that. It is not that child's responsibility to have the utmost gratitude to you or whatever, and they owe you their life because of what you did. No, it was your responsibility, and it's your duty to give everything you need to make sure their life is a success. Because it was your choice to bring them into the world. It was you, your partner, and the divine choice to bring that child in the world. And if we are honest, when we talk about spirituality and metaphysics, it was that child choosing, that soul of that child that chose you and your partner to be their parents, to come in, to choose you and come in. It was all a predestined choice. Everybody had a choice in this thing. So treat that child with respect and love. Remember, your child is a reflection of you. Your child is a mini you. So treat your child like you would want to be treated. Show your child respect, honor. We have to get out of this mindset that we were taught, especially African American people, people of color, black people, whatever we want to, tag we want to call ourselves. We don't been called so many names. But my lovely melanated people, we have to get out this ideology that we were taught, that children are not due respect, that children, are just to be seen and not heard, that children are just like little servants. No, your child is a mini you, and you have to treat them with respect and honor. How are they going to know what respect and honor from people look like and what they deserve if you don't set the precedence for them in the home? Let me use an example. A lot of women go out in the world and they marry, if they're heterosexual, and marry a man or dating someone, and they don't know what they should take and what they shouldn't take because they didn't see an example of that in the home. Now that the mother is older and wiser and make a better decision, now they want to tell their young daughter, oh, you shouldn't take that, don't take that, don't do it. But you did it all along my childhood. So why you want to tell me now as an adult don't take it? You should want to live a life, and you should not only want to, but live a life of example. That what you say matches up with what you do. that your witness and that your speech and wisdom carry weight. A lot of time what we say don't carry no weight because we don't got no life to back it up. You know, we start acting like the people in the church world and religion, saying do as I say and not as I do. No, we're not this do as I say thing, honey. This is a different generation. This is a different time. No, it's a show me. Be living proof of what I can be and what I can inspire to. Show me by the way you walk, by the way you talk, and by the way you live. Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the Soul Awakening Sanctuary Movement live stream today. Welcome. Hit that screen for me if you're enjoying this live episode, this live broadcast. Hit that screen, press those likes, those hearts, share, tap the screen, share this live, share it to your page, share it to a neighbor, share it to a friend. If you would like to give to this work and this ministry and what we're doing, the ways to give is in the comment section, also in my bio. You can give the Cash App as $ capital BSY lowercase ISRAEL 2021. All that you give help us to continue to put out greater content and get the things that we need to continue to push this message of liberation, freedom, and equality. A message of liberation, decolonization, deconstructing. A lot of people don't feel they need to deconstruct, but honey, if you spend any time in America, especially if you've been a person of color in America, a melanated person in America, honey, you do need to deconstruct. I don't care what. Because you done been taught so many lies and told so many things that have you confused to even knowing who you are as a person, as a human, let alone gender, orientation, anything else. But we got to understand that we have to come to the understanding that we've been lied to, and now it's our job to unlearn those things that we've been taught that have held us and suppressed us in bondage and have kept us from rising to where we could be. So again, the crucifixion is the death of the false self, the illusion, the old programming, the colonized mind, the trauma that told you you were less than divine. It's no point in your life where you finally became a divine being. No, honey, you always been one. You just discovering and becoming aware of it. Your consciousness is not being expanded to it, but you always been. You just not just become yesterday. You always been. You know, people. The greatest moment in my life is when I had the intellectual knowledge, but the experiential knowledge that the divine source, the creator, God, by all names known, is not in the sky on the throne somewhere. A white man with a beard, long beard, looking down, and I got to be scared for he see what I do, like he's Santa Claus, and got a list, and fiery hell and damnation. The greatest pivotal moment of my life, spiritually, is when I understood that the divine presence, God, was in me. That I didn't have to go outside myself to worship, but it was in me all along. And that I am what I've been looking for all along. It's been me all the time. Woo! Praises be. It's been me all along. And that will be one of your greatest epiphanies and spiritual encounters when you realize that you are who you've been looking for all along. The search is over. Once you find yourself, you found it. No longer need to search. Are y'all hearing me today? You know, another great epiphany and spiritual encounter moment of my life when I understood Psalm 82 and 6 and St. John 10 and 34. In John chapter 10, verse 34, they was asking Jesus some questions. They said, you know, you done declared. They declared that Yeshua, commonly called Jesus, that, you know, they want to stone you. We want to stone you because you as a man declare yourself to be God. See, it was clear that he was a man. They weren't confused about that. You know, I know we here now, today, in today's time, we confused whether Jesus was a man or was he what he was. I'm not confused. They weren't confused in that time, according to the biblical text. But they wanted to stone him because they say, you being a mere man, declare yourself to be God. And what the epiphany, when I really understood and grasped in my being what he said, what his response was in 10 and 34. That's right. They crucified because he knew who he was. The question is, do we know who we are? So Yeshua, commonly called Jesus' response to them was St. John 10 and 34. You can look it up for yourself if you choose to. Jesus replied and said, is it not written in your law? Now, what law is he talking about? He's talking about the Hebrew Bible, the Torah. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. You know, those books. Then you have the prophets and all of that, and the Psalms. So it said, is it not written in your law? I have said, ye are gods. And what he's referring to there is Psalms 82 and 6. And Psalms 82 and 6 says, I have said, ye are gods. Ye are all sons, children of the Most High. In other words, in both these places in the scripture is saying, you and I, we are gods, and we are children of the Most High. Point blank, period. You have the divine intelligence of the universe, the creator of all that is. And then you have us, the creation, who is God in flesh, having a human experience. You are God. So when I make the statement, you are God in flesh, having a human experience, it's not blasphemy. To say I'm blasphemous is the same. I'm saying exactly what Yeshua said. The law, the scriptures say, ye are gods. All of y'all, human beings, people, ye are gods and are children of the Most High. Everybody. Think about that. What if we really came alive to the fact that I'm God? I'm not God of somebody else. I'm God of myself. God in me. The divine intelligence of the universe, the source, spirit, the creator is in me. And a lot of times we forget, that's right, we forget who we are. And once we wake up to who we truly are, yes, we will be crucified by people. They will have something to say. Oh, she thinks she all that, or he thinks he's something now. Honey, I don't think I know I'm something. Get it right. As I often say when I post a video or episode, when I'm recording, and at the end, I always try to remember to say that you are great. And you're destined for greatness, and everybody else around you know it. The question is, do you know it yet? And can you affirm the truth of that to yourself? Forget about who trying to downplay your greatness and who trying to say you ain't all that and you don't really know all that and try to make them feel that they're better than you. That's only a pawn. That's somebody trying to cause you to forget who you are, to downplay who you are, so you can shrink and go into the shadows so they can feel big about themselves. But baby, you will never feel big because I'm never going to make myself feel small. I'm not going to be small so you can feel big. No, you got to work out that stuff, insecurities and everything on your own, because you ain't going to get the help from me. The time of shrinking and boosting people's ego is over. We are now walking in the age of Aquarius, the age of enlightenment, of knowing who you are and living your authentic truth yourself. I may be the villain in your story, honey, but you the clown in mine. Sometimes you have to let people write their story and tell their story, their version, the way they want to be. Honey, that's fine. Say all kind of things. Honey, I would not be here today if I allowed what people say and opinion to stop me. I would not even be on this live today talking and teaching and expressing. People call me all kind of names, say all kind of things, you know, blah, 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 blah. But honey, as long as I know who I am, I ain't studying you. Because you got so much to say because you don't know who you are. Because when you know who you are, when you know who you are and you walking in integrity, you walking in the flow of rhythm, you moving in spirituality and in wisdom on your journey, you don't try to knock somebody else. You don't try to downplay somebody else. You don't try to, win one over on somebody. You let people be. If I can help you, I can help you. If I can't, I'm gonna leave you where you at. That's what spiritual maturity is. That's what people who know who they are and their worth do. But it's the little petty stuff that people do. Gossiping, character assassinations, always having something negative, Nancy having something. Those are people who are yet, I like to use the term low the bar. They still in a low place. They still in degradation. They still in the slums of spirituality. They could be rich and living in Beverly Hills, but mentally, spiritually, they're in the slums. They have not resurrected to who they should be. They have not emerged into the true essence of who they are. And just because somebody don't know who they are, don't get confused on who you are. People talk about, oh, you ain't all that. Honey, I've been doing this longer than you. You've been doing this longer than me. And what results do you have, boo? I need my fan to pop right there. Yeah, you've been doing this longer, but what results do you have? Don't let nobody try to downplay you and what you know. Know what you know and stand in the truth of what you know. Know what you know and stand in the liberty. If I can use a biblical verse right there, stand in the liberty wherein Christ have made you free. Christ in me, God in me, the hope of glory. And once I really know who I am, it's no longer a hope of glory, it's the glory in me, shining the light of the world. Grace and peace, my good elder. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. When people say, oh, you think you all that in a bag of chips, honey, I'm all that, the whole meal, the table, and chairs. You got to know who you are. You are called for greatness, to do great things. But you keep settling. I made up in my mind. See, I don't often talk about this, but I was married for 10 years. Married for 10 years. And Lord, honey, I can counsel about marriage. Like, I know all about it, ins and outs. 10 years. That ended in a divorce. But finally, I had to make a decision. I was worth more. I could do better. That I had to divorce my mind from worrying about what the church folks was going to say, what the neighbors was going to say, what people were going to say. I had to let go of the image that had been betrayed. Keeping up facades to try to keep people out your business, faking it. But it's truly wonderful, in the words of Elohim. It's truly wonderful. Beloved, it's truly wonderful when you can just be real with yourself and others. A lot of people, they can't be real with you because they ain't real with themselves. In a marriage that's dead, in a relationship that's dead, in a spiritual community that's not really spiritual and it's dead, in a career that's dead to them, it don't even fit who you are anymore. But we're still just doing it and going because we've become attached. And we've let these things, these people, these places become who we are. Instead of us being who we are, and these places and people are just adding value to our life. If someone or something or some place is no longer adding value to your life, you got to let it go. Shed it. Shed that dead weight. Shed that dead skin. Learn when to let go. A lot of times we carry people and places and things and situations on for so long because we don't know or can't get a grip or a glimpse to know that all you need is you, and you can live without these people. You can live without this thing. You can live without this situation, this circumstances, this place, this event, this career. You can live without it, and you can start over again. You have let that place define you instead of you defining you. You allow everybody else to define you, but when are you going to define yourself? If I was to walk up to you today and say, "Who are you?" Could you answer me? Not what people have labeled you, but who you are at your true core and your true essence. If you cannot answer that question with precision and definitely, with definite of purpose, my love, beloved, you do need to have a chat with yourself. So we talked about the resurrection. Let me go on. Let's talk about the burial. See, the burial is the sacred pause button. It's the sacred pause. It's the incubation. The burial, the tomb is the incubator, where we are having our metamorphosis and growing. See, the silence that comes with the burial in the tomb before the rise. It's the phase where others think you're finished. See, the burial, the tomb is that experience where everybody think that you out for the count. Everybody think you finished. Everybody think you at the end of your rope. That's the burial. Metaphysically speaking, that's the burial. When everybody believes that you're down and you can't get up again. When you're in the ring of life, and life in every situation and everybody has thrown you all the punches, and now you flat on your back, down, beat up, busted, and quote unquote disgusted. But the burial is when they think life is ended and you're done. But what they don't see is the spirit is still working. Woo! Woo! That's a good one. The burial experience is when everybody think you're out of the count. They're closing the curtain. Your life play is over. You're not going to rise again. But what they can't see in this burial experience is that the spirit is yet working behind the scene. The spirit within you is still bringing you up. You're expanding your consciousness. You're moving and elevating higher. You're extending your borders. You're working within and behind the scenes, what they can't see. Because I tell you, when you think it's all over for me, honey, you don't know that there's a storm brewing. That's right, Ella. It's just the beginning. We're just getting started, honey, because you got to come to the end of yourself for your true essence to come and emerge and arise. You got to come to the end of what you thought you knew. You got to come to the end of all those frivolous ideas that you had, those illusions. You got to come through the Palm Sunday, through the Last Supper, through the Garden of Gethsemane, through the crucifixion, and come to the burial, to the end, to the culmination, so that you might resurrect. Come out of that cocoon as that beautiful, immaculate, exquisite butterfly. Say like our great ancestor and communal mother, the great beloved Dr. Maya Angelou. She said, and still I rise. Tried to knock me down, still I rise. Talked about me, still I rise. You had so much dirt to put on my name, but yet I arise from the ash heap. I arise from the dust, better than ever before. And that's what, beloved, you have to get in your mind and your spirit, that no matter how much dirt people put on your name, no matter how much people, woo, glory, glory. I feel the presence of the eternal. I feel the presence of God in me rising up there now. I got to calm down. No matter what has been thrown against you to block your path, you got to know that I am still going to rise. This is not the end for me. I could give you numbers of experience and examples of life testimony, that experience that I've gone through where, honey, I just knew it was no getting up from here, and it wasn't no getting up from this. This was it. But honey, then a resurgence of my spirit. When I thought that it was time to throw in the towel, I done pressed and I done pushed and I'm gone so far that this got to be just this let it be, stop fighting. But I went back to have a Garden of Gethsemane experience, that dark night of the soul. I went into that moment where I began to wrestle with my calling and with my divine purpose. I went into that place where I told my ego, it's time for you to surrender and go through the metamorphosis, because it's time for my true essence to emerge here. And then I began to rise again. Sometimes you got to lick your wounds. Yeah, you got to go into hiding and lick your wounds. You got to get yourself together. but not go in hiding to just have a pity party. No, but you're going to band-aid yourself up, to re-strategize, to bring yourself back up, to build yourself up. Or if I could use the phrase out of the Bible where it said, build up your most holy faith. You build up your mind and your consciousness. Begin to build up your spirit. Build up your fortitude. Yeah. You begin to build yourself up. You begin to say, hey, there's more out of life I can get. I have more to give. This is not the end. Yet I'm still rising. Been talked about, but yes, I'm still rising. I'm ascending. Yes, they done called me crazy and said I done walked off the edge. People done thought you done lost your mind because you done walked away from religion and walked into spirituality. You've left the dogma and the indoctrination and the colonization plantation, and you're moving out into the expanding your spirituality and your understanding, your awareness and your intelligence. You're moving into the allness of what God is and can be in you. And they call you crazy cuckoo, that you done lost it, that you a heretic and all that. But yet, you see the hand of the divine, of spirit moving in your life. Because it's not what people say. It's not what people say about you. It's what you say about you that matters. If I can just get everybody to understand that. It's not what people say about you. It's what you say about yourself that matters. At the end of the day, forget about people's opinions about you, honey. People can have an opinion about you all day long. But it's about what you say about you. What does God in you say about you? How do you see yourself? How do you view yourself? Because once you get that in alignment and begin to walk that out, talk that out, live that out, people will begin to get on the bandwagon. Let me say this. You don't have to change who you are to fit in any mold, any group, anything. Greetings, enlightened chaos. Welcome. I love that name, enlightened chaos. Because you know, out of the proverbial darkness is what they call chaos. And out of that comes the light. You got to have the darkness first. You got to have the chaos, the holy chaos, if you will, first. For the true enlightenment, the light can have, whoo, I see. Whoa. That's right, Ella. It's not what people say about you, but whom do you say I am? That isn't that what Yeshua commonly called Jesus said? He told his disciple, yeah, I hear what everybody else done say, but I want to know, who do you say I am? That's the question to you. People have called you every name but a child of God, as the old folks used to say. They call you every name under the sun. They'll call you every slur they can. But the question is, who do you say you are? Who do you say I am? Ask yourself, self, who am I? Who do I say I am, self? Tap that screen. Press those heart buttons. Like, comment, and share. Repost. Share. Honey, you got to know who you are. Because in a world of people that are everybody trying to be somebody else, copycatting, as we used to say back in the day, really nobody seems to want to be authentic. Nobody want to step out into their truth. Everybody want to hide. My. What you hiding for? Come out of hiding. If, I hear religious people say, people say only God can judge me. I have a problem with that statement, first of all. But anyways, if you believe that only God can judge you, what you hiding for? If only, if only God can judge you, what are you hiding for? What are you concealing who you are for? You shouldn't be worried about anybody else got going on. Why? Because it's you and your divine source. It's you and your creator. It's nothing to hide. Why? Because it's only you and your divine creator, source within you. So no need to hide. No need to put on a facade. No need to switch up when you're around certain people and switch up when you're around these people. Honey, when it can come to me, I know how to be a chameleon when it's needed to get things done amongst a duplicity of people. But I'm never a chameleon when it comes to my loyalty and who I am authentically to people. I don't switch up. If me and you don't get along, honey, everybody gonna know it. I know how to be cordial. I know how to be respectful. But we don't get along. I don't need to be fake about it. Be real. Old saints used to say, let it be real. A lot of times we don't know how to be real with ourselves. That's why we can't be real with other people. We're still lying to ourselves. Oh, my. We are lying to ourselves. That's why we're lying to everybody else. We have not allowed ourselves to breathe. We have not allowed ourselves to even consider the notion that we can do better. Woo! Let me move on from here. Let me move on. So we dealt with the burial, because the burial is the sacred pause, the incubation, the silence before the rise. It's the phase where everyone think you're finished, but they don't know the spirit is still working. And then we have the resurrection. It's not the return to who we were. It's the emergence of who you were always meant to be. Ask yourself the question, am I ready to resurrect? Am I ready to come out of the shadows? Am I ready to emerge to be who I've been truly, authentically, divinely created to be? Am I tired of running in circles? And am I ready to really to step out of the shadows and be me? A lot of people they don't even know who they are, because they haven't allowed themselves to breathe. They haven't allowed themselves to explore, because they've been so in a box. A lot of people like to claim they're free, but in truth, they know they're still bound. And it's no need. If you're going to lie to anybody, please don't lie to yourself. That's the worst deception of all. If you're going to lie to anybody, do not lie to yourself, baby. It's the greatest deception of all. A lot of times we think we're lying to folks, but all we're doing is lying to ourselves, because people already know. I don't like the word lifestyle, but for the lack of better terms, and keep it cute, I'm gonna use the term for now. A lot of people like to act that they're not living a certain lifestyle. that they're not truly who they are. They like to pretend in front of other people. But guess what? Ain't much pretending because everybody else knows it. That's the secret. You want to know the secret? Everybody else knows it. You can't hide it. You only fooling you. I had a friend, he tried to play the toxic masculinity, the hyper masculinity, try to act he wasn't who he was, honey. Child, who you playing that game for? Yourself, because we all know it. We all know the truth. But have you set yourself free? That's right. Whom the Son sets free. Not just the S-O-N, it's the S-U-N, the Son, the light, consciousness, awareness. Once that has been set free, yes, you are truly free indeed. But has your consciousness been set free? Have your mind been set free? Have your old limiting beliefs and ideology and paradigm been set free? You got to let go of that baggage and those things that you've been taught as a child. Been taught that God don't love you unless you do A, Y, Z, A to Z. How can God not love you when God is love and love is of God and God is in you? You are in God and God is in you. How can God never love you or don't love you? Because there is no spot where God is not. Mm. Mm. Ooh, that's powerful. We got to let that go. If you don't dress a certain way, if you don't look a certain way, if you don't say a certain thing, if you don't do a certain thing, God's not going to love you. The divine source, the creator, loves you just as you are. Doesn't love you because you follow a list of rules, a list of commandments, or anything like that. The divine source don't just love you because you keep the 10 commandments or because you keep the Sabbath day holy or you keep Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread and Sukkah and all these other Hebrew holidays. God don't love you so much because you do that. God don't love you no more than the next person because you pay tithes and offerings and you go to church every Sunday. You go to temple, synagogue, mosque, all because that's religion. That don't have nothing to do with the divine source and the creator. That's man-made religion, rules, and regulation that they've made. That don't have nothing to do with the divine source. What did the master teacher Yeshua say? The greatest commandment of all is love. Everything is wrapped up in love. If I love, I'm not going to do nothing to hurt my neighbor. I'm not going to do nothing to offend nobody. If I love, I'm going to love myself first. A lot of us don't know how to love ourselves. How can we love our neighbor as ourselves when we don't even love ourselves? We don't treat ourselves with respect. We allow people to talk all kind of junk even in our presence. You know you don't love yourself. You allow people to talk all slick Rick to you. Honey, one thing about me, people will find out quick. Don't be slick and flick at the mouth because I will get you told. And yes, I'm still Chief Apostle when I'm done. I'm still the queen. I'm still the woman of God. I'm still the prophet. I'm all high priest and all that. When I'm finished, I'm get you told. Because what you're going to learn is I respect myself. I respect you. And I guarantee you're going to respect me. If not, it's going to be holy hell. Plain and simple. End of the story. I don't take no prisoners. And you have to set the precedence. But see, I don't have to go through that because I set the precedence. How are you going to treat me? Because you see how I treat myself, and I'm not going to let you to treat me any way differently than I say I'm to be treated. So you got to get to that point. You got to love yourself first. And see, once you come to that place where you love yourself, you have dignity, respect for yourself. When you respect yourself, sometimes you're not even going to take yourself in certain places. That's right. That's the African saying from Kemet, aka Egypt. Man, that's gender equality. It's everybody. Know thyself. And then the rest of it. To thine own self be true. Man, know thyself, and then thou will know the gods. Know thyself, and to thy own self be true. Are you true to yourself? That's why some people, they get so exhausted being around people because they're putting on. They're putting on airs. They're not really true to themselves. They're faking it till they make it. But when you're true to yourself, you hold to your convictions. You respect yourself. You don't take yourself some certain places because you know, honey, I'm not going to be tolerated. You don't have to tolerate me. If you don't respect certain places, I'm just not going to go because you don't respect me and the grace that's on my life. So I cannot bring my presence there. Some people just want you in the room for the validation that your presence will give to whatever they got going on. And you got to know that. Am I going this place or doing this event or being here or being in an acquaintance with this person going to add value more to them or to me or both of us? Who is benefiting really from this relationship? If you begin to evaluate every relationship that you have and say who is really benefiting, you will begin to put things in perspective. Hello, somebody. Don't be used by people. Don't let people use you. I always say everybody is being used to some extent, but is it an exchange? Is it mutual? Or is it one-sided? Friendship, love, respect, all goes both ways. As the old folks say, the same distance it is to drive to you is the same distance to drive to me. So friendship, love, relationship is not one-sided. And so you have to reevaluate sometimes some connections that you have. Sometimes you have to let go certain connections. Why? Because it's not benefiting both parties. Think about it. So now we done dealt with Palm Sunday, Last Supper, Garden of Gethsemane, crucifixion, burial, resurrection. So beloved, now is the time. It's the rebirth of consciousness. It's time for a rebirth in consciousness. The rising of Christ in you. See, Christ was not Yeshua, commonly called Jesus' last name. It means the anointed. And we all are anointed and appointed. So it's time for the Christ to rise in you, the rising of Christ in you. See, we have to unlearn the understanding that Christ is not a man. It's not a man in history. Christ is a frequency. So when we talk about Christ consciousness, it's a frequency that you tune into, that you align with. So Christ is not a man, it's a frequency. So let's deal a little bit, let's go a little further with Christ consciousness and the divine within. Let's go a little deeper. Christ consciousness is the awakened mind in you that knows its oneness with the source. So that's Christ consciousness. When you know that you and the source are one, just like Yeshua said, I and my Father are one. He wasn't just saying it for his benefit, but as an example to you that you and the divine consciousness is one. We and the Creator and the source are one. We are all interconnected. That's what it's trying to teach us. Christ consciousness is the awakened mind that knows that its oneness is with the source. The Christ consciousness is the spiritual DNA in every human being that says, I and my Father are one. I am the light of the world. I am not separate from God. I am an extension of the divine consciousness that created the universe. I am an extension of God. I am God in flesh having a human experience. See, that's not blasphemy. No, it's the truth that was buried under centuries of control, colonization, white supremacy, and conditioning. But now we're shaking off the dust and coming out of the ash heap. And it's time to rise in Christ consciousness. It's time to remember who we are. It's time to remember your sacred identity. That's what we're talking about here. Recalling your true self, who you are, your legacy, your inheritance. Let me say this, you don't need to wait for a second coming. Now, I know a lot of people, this is going to make a lot of people upset and mad and angry, I know, but it's all right. Y'all will be all right. A lot of people talking about, oh, look at what's happening in the world. Oh, Jesus soon to return. And the second come. Honey, let me tell you, let me bust your bubble. It's no need to wait for a second coming. You are the second coming. Woo! Hello, somebody. You are the second coming. You wait for some grand event to happen for a second. You are the second coming. The second coming happens when you arise from the dust, from the dead consciousness, from the old paradigm. And when you awaken, when you heal, when you forgive, when you speak truth, when you break cycles, the second coming is that experience that happens in you. When you are revived again, when you resurrect to who you truly are, to your Christ consciousness, to your God consciousness. That is the second coming. I'm going to say it again. When you awaken to who you truly are, when you go to that metamorphosis, when Christ consciousness become a reality in you, you're understanding that you and the divine are interconnected, the oneness with the divine. That is when your second coming event has happened. When you awaken, when you heal, when you forgive, when you speak truth, when you let go of the old paradigm, when you shift your paradigm, when you break cycles, and Christ consciousness has become your reality, that is the second coming. That's right. Rebirth transformation equals being born again. That's what be born again is. Not about going in the water. Now, going in water and immersion, that's a ritual. And it's good and it's symbolic. There's nothing wrong with that. Going ritual baths and period. Every religion, every spiritual path has that. Not a problem. But the rebirth and born again is your mind, your consciousness, your spirit, your view of life. It needs a rebirth. Woo! Honey, you are the resurrection and the life. You are the resurrection. Have you resurrected yet? Are you ready to be resurrected? Now, what we're talking today, resurrection reimagined, the awakening of the Christ, spiritual power of the divine within you. This ascension is about, it's a universal application. This is for all paths. This message today, this teaching, this understanding, this revelation today is not just for limited to Christianity or to any specific particular path. It's for the seekers. It's for the mystics. It's for the overcomers. It's for the formerly religious, the spiritual, the spirituality, the spiritually curious, the children of many traditions. This message is for you. This teaching is for you. No matter what your spiritual path is, resurrection is for you. Because rebirth is not religious, it's universal, honey. It's time to ascend from within. Some people trying to ascend on the outside, trying to climb the ladder, ascend. But you got to ascend from within for it to stick, baby. Every tradition has a version of this. You have the phoenix rising from the ashes, the butterfly emerging from the cocoon, the caterpillar that dies so the divine can fly. That's what we're talking about. Honey, sometimes you start teaching too deep, honey. These platforms, honey, they try to cut in there because you start talking too real truth. But resurrection is encoded in nature, in life, and in you. It's a part of you. It's a part of your spiritual process. It's part of your spiritual journey. So I want to talk about a practical integration, how to resurrect in real life. We talked about metaphysically, but let's talk about, that's right, true understanding and how to practically resurrect. Let's bring this into real life. So I want you to ask yourself today these questions. What needs to die in me so that something greater can arise? What old story am I still carrying that keeps me in the tomb? Where have I buried my power? So I can go back and get it. What limiting beliefs must I still crucify so that I can rise again? See, spiritual resurrection looks like walking away from what no longer serves you, no longer serves purpose in your life. That's spiritual resurrection. It's when you forgive yourself and others to free your own soul. See, forgiveness is not about other people, it's about you. Freeing your own soul from the baggage, the bondage, and the soul tie. It's about speaking your truth even when it shakes your voice, even when it feels uncomfortable, but speaking your truth, even when it shakes your voice and makes you uncomfortable and others uncomfortable. That's what spiritual resurrection looks like. Reclaiming your spiritual and sacred power. That is what spiritual resurrection looks like. Learning to say yes to your divine assignment. That is what spiritual resurrection looks like. So today I invite you all to roll away the stone. Some people waiting to Sunday. Some people waiting Saturday night. I'm encouraging you to roll away the stone right now. To come out of the tomb. The old you deserves to rest. It has served its purpose. But it cannot walk you through and into your next chapter. It's time to let that part of you go. Let it die so that you can rise to your fullest potential. So, beloved, this is your moment. I want you to know this is your moment. This is your rising. This is your resurrection. You are not broken. You are not buried. You are not forgotten. You are sacred. You are powerful. You are divine. And I want you to know that. As I often say, you are great. You are powerful. You are the epitome of the divine consciousness that created the universe. You are God in flesh, having a human experience. And never let any ideology, any philosophy, any theology, any doctrine or dogma, or anyone's negative opinion, tell you differently. Because it's not what they call you, honey. It's what you choose to answer to. And I admonish you to make them call you by your name because you're due all the respect and honor and glory. You are destined for greatness and to do great things because you are great. Everybody else around you know it, whether they will acknowledge it or not. The question is, do you know it yet? And can you affirm that truth of yourself? Yeshua said it himself. Greater works do you do than these. Have you tapped into your greater? That's the question. Are you ready to tap in to your greater? Think about it. If this message and teachings today has awakened something in you, I want to invite you to walk this journey with us. If you've been searching for your tribe, a spiritual community that you can be a part of and immerse yourself with, that you can grow with, and explore spirituality in a deeper way, I invite you to come and join and be a part of this movement, the Soul Awakening Sanctuary movement, now accepting new members and partners to this work and this movement. We are welcoming you with open arms to be a part. Reach out to us and we can give you more information on how to be a part. We're going to be holding weekly sessions and services and teachings, some that are going to be private in a private setting. So reach out to us so that you can be a part of this movement. We're going to be offering different classes and different things. And also we're going to be having some in-person services and different things. So be on the lookout. Come on and join and be a part of us. Even for those of you who know that you've been called to be a priest, a priestess, to be a light worker, to be a healer, to be a prophet, a teacher, of some spiritual leader in consciousness. If you feel that's you, reach out to us and you need guidance. Let us know. If you're an independent ministry and you're looking for someone to help guide you and lead you, let us know. Reach out to us. You can be a part of this movement. We do spiritual coaching, spiritual advisor, all these type of things we offer as services of this community. So come on and join us. Reach out to us. You can follow us on Facebook, the Soul Awakening Sanctuary. We're on Facebook. You can follow me at Chief Apostle Veronica Yisrael. So join the Soul Awakening Sanctuary movement. Also keep on the lookout. Give us a like or follow this channel. We're on YouTube as well. Follow Chief Apostle Veronica Yisrael, because some of the long content videos will be on YouTube that can't be found on other platforms. So follow us there too and join the Soul Awakening Sanctuary movement and rise with us. We are ascending together. Rise together in truth and into the truth of who you are. Because this is not the end, beloved. This is the beginning. And I want to say happy resurrection to you. Not the resurrection in a traditional sense, but resurrection into becoming who you are. You resurrecting to your true essence. The resurrection of you. And so we love you all. Peace be unto you. Again, if you would like to support, if you like what you're hearing and this has been a blessing to you, please consider giving a financial contribution, sow a seed, be a blessing. Be a blessing to this work and to this word and teaching that you've heard. Practice the law of reciprocity. You can give. The ways to give is in the comment section in my bio. It's $ capital BSY lowercase ISRAEL 2021. And we appreciate what you do because you're helping us continue to further and spread what we're doing. We want to continue to spread this content, this message of love, light, and liberation and truth, and of this message of inclusion, that everybody has a seat at this table, no matter where you are, your background, your orientation, whatever the case is, whatever spiritual path, there is room for you in this community. I know that I love each and every one of you, and until next time, peace be with you. Prayerfully, I will be live tomorrow and possibly Sunday. So be on the lookout. It'll probably be between 10, 11 something. We'll come on live tomorrow, if not a little earlier. So be on the lookout for us tomorrow. We'll go live and we'll do some more teaching and talking and discussing together. I love you all. This is your first time? Welcome. Click like and follow. We love you all. And we will be posting a new episode later on this evening about the law of rhythm. So be on the lookout for that as well. And I will have another video talking about Passover, Easter, and all that connection be coming out soon too. So just keep on lookout. And when you see these videos, if you don't, I post a video at least 2 or 3 times a day. If you don't see me in your timeline or your For You page, please come search for me and like the video, repost and share the video, because especially on TikTok, our morale has been very low. So please help us push the video out as well. We want the truth to go viral. If you're on Facebook, please help push it out. What helps? You may say, well, Chief Apostle, I don't have no money. I can't sow any money into your ministry, but I like what you're doing. You can press the share button. You can share it on your page. You can send it to a friend. You can send it to a coworker. You can share it. You can comment. You can like it, heart it. All those things help us in what we're trying to do in this community, in this movement. It helps us, and we appreciate you so very much for all the kind words, all the donations, all the shares, the likes. Everything helps, and it goes a long way. And so we love you, and we appreciate you for it. Until tomorrow, until the next time, peace be with you.